All right, big news out of T-Mobile. This one is big because it's going to be the future of networking. So it appears that, at least from Mike Dana over at Light reading his story on this, T-Mobile is testing 6G equipment, and they're actually doing it through Nokia as the vendor of the equipment. The testing is really important because it's kind of, I guess, a step in the direction of moving towards possibly 6G networking. I know 5G like just started, and we're like not even close to it being in its mature form. Like 5G is not going anywhere, and 5G is going to be a thing for decades to come. But like that's not going to stop the industry from testing, developing, researching, and implementing within the near-term future. Like we're probably looking at the next handful of years when we see some 6G base stations being installed, after being developed and designed and all those kind of things. So the testing done through Nokia is going to be in the 7 gigahertz range. I think they're doing some additional 8 gigahertz testing as well, but what is assumed to be 6G radio deployments with the ability to offer 10 to 20 times more capacity and higher data throughput rates. And that's pretty amazing, and that's pretty awesome. And you could see why T-Mobile wants to invest in these technologies and start that R&D process. Right, you're going to have obviously more advanced beamforming, which improves signal quality. Higher order MIMO gives you massive amounts of capacity as an advantage over older technologies. But I think what's really important is the characteristics of the connections. Right, we're going to look for stability. We're going to look for propagation and range. Right, the stuff just can't be, the same thing as what we've been having. It's got to be better. Right, so looking at the filing and looking at some of the equipment and the stuff that they're going to do and the frequencies that they're using, looks like they're going to be testing like 2 kilometer range, and they're going to do this in fixed and mobile service scenarios. So the reason why this is important is these frequencies are starting to get pretty high, right? We've already seen mmWave deployments, and the range on that stuff is very limited. But 7 gigahertz and 8 gigahertz with higher power gives it some real potential. So they're testing at 2 kilometers, which puts it just about a shade over 1 mile of range. So this tells you that tower grids are about to get really tight if you're going to be building and deploying based on a 1.2 mile propagation characteristic. And there's no service provider out there with a national footprint of a tower every mile. So they're going to be densifying, and that's a good indication that our networks are going to be more redundant, much faster, huge offload capacity ability, like lots of great things coming down the line. So that's exciting, right? And then you're going to have large swaths of bandwidth that are available in these higher frequency ranges. And I think the fact that they're going to be testing mobile network services like our cell phones, and they're also going to be testing home broadband. So that's 5G home internet. And this is something that I've said about fixed wireless and 5G home internet in previous videos. There's much more upside. There's more that they can do to optimize the connections to create more capacity that are probably going to help people get out of the doldrums of stuck with DSL, bad cable providers, lack of competitive forces in the industry. Because companies like T-Mobile, and I think also Verizon and AT&T to an extent, once they get involved in these things, like now you're going to have new competitors. If you didn't have a 5G home internet option before, you probably will. And if you do have it, it's going to get better. There's going to be new gateways. There's going to be new technologies. These companies are going to be able to monetize their networks through these strategic and technological advancements. The future is bright. And T-Mobile, obviously, we know that they're going to get into fiber, and we know that they're probably looking at some mergers and acquisitions, and the FCC and the DOJ aren't really telling them no. But we still need to understand, like, you're going to be deploying 5G home internet. You're going to have to make these kinds of moves. I'm also looking at Verizon for this type of R&D too, and I'm thinking, we should be learning more about what they're doing in the lab as well. This is exciting. This is really good. Huge indications here. T-Mobile's investment into the network will continue to accelerate. This investment won't be cheap. This investment won't be easy. Trailblazing if they can get this launched sooner rather than later. Usually when you see this type of development R&D, we're a few years out. So not anytime soon exactly, but I mean, hell, by the end of the decade, this could be something that really mainstreams. Exciting times. What do you guys think? Like, share, and subscribe. Drop me some comments. Check out some more of our videos. We'll see you guys on the next one.